this time?
Oh, we have a big surprise for you guys.
We have quite the announcement.
We are expecting.
How did that happen?
It is crazy. Some of you guys actually guessed over on Instagram that I was pregnant, but it is true. I am pregnant.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
because of so many things that we're going to tell you, but not least of which is the fact that you followed us through the whole infertility journey that we went through in Brazil.
Yeah.
And what a journey it was. And now we have beautiful Lila Bean, but it took forever.
I know.
This time around, did not take so long.
This time we got pregnant naturally, which is insane. And it is the best news, but something that we never expected. We weren't avoiding
That's
getting
the way we've explained it to
Yeah.
everybody. There was no avoiding,
Yeah.
but we just never really expected. You know, the first time was such an ordeal, such a trial, and we just figured probably, let's be realistic, probably one and done. Like, it's just not going to happen again for us because it took all of that effort for it to happen the first time.
And we had agreed that we weren't going to go through fertility treatment again. I mean, for several reasons. And I think the most important one was that it's really expensive, and we used a lot of our savings in Brazil to get to Lila.
Yeah.
And at this point, we were like, well, we are already blessed with one. So we are not going to go through fertility treatment again, and that was a decision that we had made.
Yeah, and there's an emotional cost
Very,
as well,
very
right?
much so,
I mean, it was, and for those of you who followed us all the way through it, you know this, or for those of you who have gone through it yourselves, I mean, it just takes a lot out of you, and I think we were tired after the entire experience, and we just thought, again, that's going to be it for us, but let's not avoid because. Who knows what happens.
Right. And we hadn't avoided since 2012. Ryan and I got married in 2009, and we hadn't avoided, pregnancy since 2012. And obviously it took us until Lila's pregnancy, which was in end of 2016.
Right.
So this time we're like, well, if it happens, it happens. The chances of that happening are so small. And yes, I went through laparoscopy surgery. If you guys have followed our story, then you know that one of the major causes of our infertility was that my tubes were stuck to my pelvic wall. And I have PCOS.
Right.
So one of the problems was fixed, but PCOS is still a reality for me. My cycles are not regular.
Right.
I don't know when I'm gonna ovulate. I didn't even know I was ovulating, and I mean, I did. At least once I ovulated.
If I had to guess, also, I think that it's this surgery that sort of opened things up and got things moving again. Because, and obviously the PCOS is a giant hurdle. So everything sort of had to line up just perfectly in order for this to happen. But again, it's my personal theory of all of this is that laparoscopy surgery, it just sort of righted things, things were a little bit knotted and now not so much anymore, and it just maybe it had a larger impact than we'll ever know on all of those years of infertility.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would never be able to get pregnant, technically without that surgery. So that was a big issue that was resolved. And you were right. I think a lot of the people that we talked to after I got pregnant, all the, our medical team here, our OB team, our nurses and everybody, they were like, oh, this happens a lot. After a woman goes through infertility and they go through pregnancy, it's almost like the body resets itself and understands what to do. And I was like, I heard of these stories before, a lot of women, getting pregnant naturally after going through infertility, but I never thought that would happen to us.
Because it seems like that really annoying thing that you hear when you're going through infertility. I mean, it's like, guys, if you just relax, everything will work itself out just so perfully for you. So it's sort of, I don't know, it's a little shocking and almost a little annoying now that annoying thing just actually sort of, maybe works sometimes. I mean, there's this thought that we're not really trying anymore. We're totally settled, or we're in a totally different headspace. We're not concerned about it. We're just being natural and being ourselves, and boom, there it happens. So I mean, we love it, but it's just, how does it happen? How does this work?
We don't know. So to tell you guys a little bit about how we found out and how far along I am, I'm sure you're very curious. So we found out basically, it was a Monday. I'm not gonna give you the details, but like, it was a Monday, and it was after a weekend that I wasn't feeling so well. The week before we found out, I had just this feeling like my uterus was full. That's all I could explain, and I just felt heavy in my uterus. But mind you, that I hadn't had my period for over 2 months at that point. So I skipped.
Which is normal for you.
Which is normal
right?
for me.
I mean, yeah.
Having PCOS, I will skip a few months, and then sometimes I'll have my period twice a month. So my periods are completely irregular. They did not regulate itself after pregnancy. I never had regular periods in my life. So I just felt this feeling of full. My uterus was full. So the week before, I actually got a positive test. I tested and I got a negative test.
Right.
And that was fine, you know, I was like, oh yeah, whatever. So I probably am going to get my period. That's the sensation that I had, that like something was about to happen. And we went on the weekend, just like normal weekend, drove around like here in Madison.
Yeah, we went and had lunch like just outside of town, had a beer, that sort of thing.
And I couldn't shake the feeling of feeling nauseous. And you remember that. I never ordered ginger ale, and I remember after, I don't know, like a 30-minute drive, I felt so car sick. And I usually do feel car sick, but I get over it pretty easily. And I just got to the restaurant and I was like, oh, I'm feeling so car sick. And I ordered a ginger ale, which is uncommon for me. And that everything like that just felt weird. It just felt out of place. But nothing that would justify like, oh, I am for sure pregnant. I mean, that would never.
No, not in our thoughts. I don't
exactly.
think. No.
And then Monday rolled around, and I was still feeling that full feeling in my uterus, and Ryan went to work.
I was gonna say, at this point I'm gone, I'm out of the house, so you're at home alone, you, Lila.
I was with Lila, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take another pregnancy test, why not? So I peed, I took the test, and I discarded my pee, and I went to put Lila down for a nap, and I just left the test in the bathroom.
You were like freaking out about it, looking at the clock, waiting for the results. You just took it to take it.
I knew it was going to be negative. Like, it's that feeling of like when you take so many pregnancy tests in your life, and I mean, we have taken a lot, and they're always negative. So I knew it was going to be negative. I didn't expect a positive. But then after I put Lila down for her nap, I came back to the bathroom and I was like, oh yeah, I took that test.
Oh, I should check.
Oh yeah. And it was positive. And I was like, what? I saw a second line and I immediately called Ryan. And you were, tell your version.
No, I mean, I just remember I was out and about, I was working, I work out of the car a lot, and I had actually stopped. I was on the side of the road, which is good, so there was none of this. And yeah, you just said, baby, you're not gonna believe this. I'm pregnant. And I could, but it was a lot more animated than that, because I could hear right away in Priscilla's voice that something was up. Like there was, you don't hide it very well. So I knew something was going on, and I knew it was a good thing too. Right. And I was like, what is going on? So yeah, and then I think I just sat there in stunned silence, and I probably was like, what?
And neither of us could believe it. We didn't film it because, I mean, one, I didn't think it would be positive. No. I didn't think it would be worth filming it, or it wasn't in my mind at the time.
There was no big lead up to this. It's not like we've been filming everything, working toward this as a goal or whatever. So yeah, it was just a thing. You were just checking to check.
I was just checking to check because, I mean, if you've ever gone through infertility, guys, I'm sure, I don't know, maybe, I think I am right here, but if you've ever gone through infertility and, you know, you're not trying, but you're not preventing pregnancy, and you were like, you know, maybe I'll be pregnant again, I think all of us have a collection of pregnancy tests in our houses, and that's what happened to me.
Yeah, there's probably like a Ziploc in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah, like those like cheapy Amazon, you know, tests, I have a lot of them in the house, and I still do. So why not take them, right? So I didn't really think that I was pregnant. I told Ryan, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take another one just in case, but I didn't really have to pee, so I squeezed my pee out at
Meanwhile,
that point.
I'm on the way home. You were like, you better come home.
Yeah,
so I came home.
Right? I was like, yeah, come home, because I think this situation is real. But then when I squeezed a pee out, you guys know that, you know, in the beginning of pregnancy, your tests are not really, really strong because your HCG levels are not high. So I think my urine was really diluted. And I took the test and it came back and I couldn't see a second line. I was like, oh man, all that emotion for nothing. I'm actually not pregnant. And I was like, fine, that's, it is what it is. I'll just have to relax. And then maybe an hour later, when I really had to pee, I peed and took another test and that came back positive. And I was like, what? So I got Lila, packed her in the stroller, and I walked to a Walgreens because there's a Walgreens walking distance from us. And I walked there and I got first response, clear blue digital, and this is what we got. This is I think the first.
Can you see it here?
There you go. Oh wait.
There it is.
This is the first response test that we took this pregnancy, and this is our digital that I took the next day. Just because.
Right. Do you guys remember watching in Brazil once upon a time? It said gravida.
Yeah, this one says pregnant.
Yeah,
so I was definitely pregnant, and you came home and you're like, I can't work anymore. What?
Luckily, I think it was like the last hour or two of the day anyway.
Exactly. So I was definitely pregnant. So my first order of business was to actually call our clinic to communicate the fact and to tell them that I was pregnant and explain them our history of infertility.
Right.
My biggest fear really at that point was my progesterone levels, because with PCOS I have low progesterone, and in my pregnancy with Lila I took progesterone supplements, if you guys remember. So I called the clinic and I was like, I'm pregnant. I got a positive pregnancy test. I don't know how far along I am because my last cycle was 2 months ago. I'm sure I'm not that far along, but I don't know how far along I am. And I need progesterone.
Which is good thinking on your part. I mean, we've gone through this before.
Yeah.
We're not getting any younger.
Exactly.
And you start doing exactly what you need to do to now protect it now that you know that it's a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I talked to a nurse. I got assigned an OB. And the first thing that she did was to actually schedule me for a beta test the next day to not only confirm pregnancy but also to see what my levels were at. And so that, again guys, I found out on a Monday, and then on a Tuesday I had an HCG beta test. That test came back at 86.8. So that was my very first beta. Which wasn't super high, but again, we had no idea how far along I was at that point. And then she scheduled me for another beta 48 hours later, and that came back at 262.
Right, more than double.
More than double.
You were so nervous before that second one. It was like straight back to the infertility, pregnancy nervousness.
Right, which never leaves you really. Like even if you get pregnant naturally like this. So my beta more than double within 48 hours, and then she scheduled me for a third beta a week later, and that came back like 3,000 and something. So again, more than doubled. At that point, we knew that the pregnancy was going well, was progressing as it should. So that was our first sigh of relief, I think, since finding out the pregnancy. And everything went great.
And now here we are. That's sort of like that's the introduction to it all, and like what happened and what we've been going through, and I guess what we've been up to this whole time that you guys haven't really seen us, and now there will be a whole lot more to share, more updates coming, but we don't have to do it all in one video. We can share this out a little bit.
I am through my first trimester, so I'm officially today I'm 13 weeks and 3 days, so something like that. By the time you guys see this video, probably be closer to 14 weeks. And we've had already 2 ultrasounds, the first one to date the pregnancy. When we first had our first ultrasound, I was 5 weeks and 6 days, so that's when we discovered my due date and everything, which will be February 15th. That's exciting. Baby. I know, Valentine's baby. And we heard the heartbeat. We got a strong heartbeat at that point already. So everything was going great. We just recently had another ultrasound as well, which was our first trimester screening, which we opted to do. So we know the gender of the baby already, but that is in another video. But you guys can have a sneak peek.
Yeah, there you go.
Of the little baby.
There you go.
I am going to do a separate first trimester video, first trimester recap, because a lot has happened, you know, and it would be too much for one video, and this is really an announcement.
Yeah, and the chance to just sort of reconnect with you guys and let you know what's going on. If you've got questions, you know, now is the time to start reaching out to us.
Yeah, so we're going to also do a Q&A. That was a great opening because...
Nice. Unintended segue.
I wanted to do a Q&A, but we've been very present on Instagram, you guys. So please follow us on Instagram. If you've been missing us here on YouTube, we've been super on Instagram, and we post Instagram stories pretty much every day of Lila, you know, and how she's progressing and everything. So follow us at Follow the Hills, so you know exactly what's happening. And the Q&A will be questions from Instagram only, because it gets too confusing if I have questions from YouTube and from Instagram and from Facebook and everything.
Right.
So follow us on Instagram. I'm going to post a story on Instagram after this video goes up with an opportunity for you guys to ask me a question. So go to a story and, you know, type up whatever question you want, you know, that you're curious about, and I'll receive directly on my DM on our private message, and I'll respond it on the next video. So we're gonna be doing a Q&A, and the question should be mostly about pregnancy, about this pregnancy. But if you have, you know, other questions also, feel free to.
Feel free. Like if you're wondering where Lila is right now, she is sleeping like a dream. I'll save you that question. This is nap time. Nap time is the easiest time to rock this out.
She's so big, you guys. You're gonna see her. I'm gonna start vlogging again. We're gonna be back, you know, back in action here, and she's super big. She's super smart. Just a little firecracker.
That's the right way to say it. So I think that sort of covers it, right? Thank you guys for watching this one and for catching up with us. I hope you have lots of questions, and like Priscilla said, you'll take the time to ask them via Instagram. And thanks for watching this video with us.
Thank you so much, guys, and send us a congratulations in the comments below, because this is a big deal for us.
This is huge. If you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and do leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we'll see you guys back soon.
Bye!
Bye!